DNVR Rockies podcast brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, where right now code DNVR is going to win you some money. A $5 bet is going to make you clinch $150 in free bets with the NBA play-in series going on right now. Again, that's code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook. I am one of your hosts, Patrick Lyons, joined by the Suzie Hunter. And we've got another baseball game to celebrate about because the Colorado Rockies have won 4-1 tonight against the Texas Rangers. They go to 4-1, and maybe by the end of tonight, they'll actually be in first place in the NL West. Let's go. How you feeling now?
It feels good. It was a quick road trip, but it's nice to see the Rocks winning on the road.
It was a quick one that they had in the bag. They didn't make us sweat it out like last night, where they missed a lot of opportunities and then came back late, gave up the run to Willie Calhoun in the ninth, who did come up in another big spot. I don't like that guy right now very much after what he did to Daniel Bard. But this one, we could breathe a little bit easier. It was a much easier victory, although Bard did have a little bit of traffic on the bases yet again.
Yeah, it's got to be so frustrating for the Rangers to spend $500 million and not win against a team that has kind of been the butt of the joke the whole offseason. So I'm pretty happy with this. Some nice results.
Yeah, great point. Marcus Semien, Corey Seager tonight, 0 for 8 with 2 strikeouts. Although Corey Seager probably should have had a home run. We'll get to that eventually. We'll get to the home run that he should have had, but oh no.
If you haven't heard already, we're going to get into it because, Twitter was definitely blowing up about this.
Yeah. That was probably the play of the game in many, many ways. But before we get into all the fun stuff, I mean, there's plenty of fun things. Rockies they win 4-1. They have a 4-1 record. Let's start with the guy who was on the hill to start the game, Chad Kuhl, Rockies starting pitcher.
Yeah, so I mean, we got a little scare out of him with some, what we thought was a blister in the 4th inning. But I mean, overall, we had just over 4 innings pitched, two hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 80 pitches, 44 for strikes. But yeah, 1 bloody finger, which we have found out was not a blister. His nail cut his finger. So that was where all that blood was coming from. So now we know.
Yeah, I don't think I'll give Chad Kuhl any advice, but that's something that happened to me when I pitched in high school. It actually was my middle finger, and I would cut the inside of my nail all kinds of different ways, and yet it's just the pressure that you put on that middle finger. That's where you get the most pressure on the baseball, and so that happened. That actually went down in the 3rd inning, and Bud Black came out, checked on him. He stayed in there and was still able to go another frame there, looked really solid overall. As you said, 4 1/3 innings pitched, only gives up the 1 run. A lot of that helped by the fact that Jhoulys Chacín came in there and looked really well. Overall, the entire bullpen looked really well, I would say, tonight, wouldn't you?
You know what? The bullpen's been looking great this whole season, too, which is absolutely incredible. But Chacín came in, pitched a couple of... Yeah, Chacín, just over 2 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Estevez came in, 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, no runs, no strikeouts, a very rare 0 strikeout inning.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
weird, right?
And then we saw Daniel Bard, pitched an inning, 1 hit by pitch, no strikeouts. His last 11 pitches were all sliders. So that's what the bullpen is up to. Overall, pretty fun bullpen the past few games, right?
We talked about it on Monday's postgame show, this idea that you can count how many earned runs or runs in general that the bullpen has given up. It's still 2, folks. We're 5 games into the season. Rockies bullpen, 2. I think they're at about, I can't even keep track anymore now. I think they're like 23 or 24 innings pitched now for the bullpen over these 5 games. 2 earned runs. That has been so vital because all these games have been really close. Outside of the Sunday contest where it was 9-4, the games have all been incredibly close. So the bullpen, I mean, I don't think there's an MVP chain long enough for the entirety of the bullpen, but if there was, the Rockies bullpen would probably deserve to have it at some point here, right?
Oh my gosh, I would love to see them string that together. Just raid the gift store. we can make one.
Might have to be a makeshift one, yeah, for sure. So only one run by the Rangers. They only scored a few last night. They got the 4 last night, so 5 runs in those 2 games, which is particularly impressive because I think as we talked in the post-game show on Sunday night, which you can watch live on YouTube on our DNVR Sports channel, or if you just listen to the podcast, you heard it Monday morning, they had scored 23 runs against a very good and very talented Toronto Blue Jays rotation and bullpen. And so the fact that they were able to shut them down at home with a little bit of juice in that ballpark with their home opener on Monday afternoon, Tuesday, I think people forgot that there was a game going on, but nevertheless, that's 2 really good victories on the road. The Rockies at one point last year were 2-17 on the road. Now they're 2-0. I don't think they're going to lose 17 straight and repeat last year's ways, right?
That would be awful. Yeah, I don't even want to think about the 2-17 on the road days. That was embarrassing. Did not enjoy that.
No, the dome was closed. We didn't see any home runs tonight. We did see 2 on, we almost saw 1. We'll get to that. We're teasing here. That's called a teaser, folks, in the industry. But the 2 home runs on Monday from Connor Joe, CJ Crone. I'm not sure if anyone from Texas homered. I don't think that was the case. Oh, no, Willie Calhoun. Yeah, the game tire, of course. But wondering if when the dome is closed, the ball doesn't, fly quite as well there at Globe Life Field. And so Rockies still not getting the home runs they probably were hoping to out of this lineup. But again, the bullpen's been fantastic. Starting pitching has been good enough, and the offense has been good enough. And so if you're not clicking on all cylinders, but you're 4-1, I mean, that's still really great. I don't think we've yet to see the best of the Rockies just yet. And they're 4-1. And with a loss tonight, as we speak, it's 10-1. Giants are winning. That's going to mean Rockies are going to be in first place in the NOS, barring some, crazy unforeseen circumstance by the Giants. So Rockies, again, got to feel really good about this team.
Could be our first place Rockies. And then they're coming back home in a couple of days. So, just so much to look forward to.
It is. I haven't checked the weather yet of what it's going to be like this weekend for the Cubs series, but
it's going to be fine. It's getting cold at night, but it's going to be kind of nice out.
Yeah. Yeah. And we now know how to successfully troll those Cubs fans. If they're wearing Bryant jerseys, just say, hey, big KB23 fan, even though it says 17 on the back, just treat them like they're Rockies fans.
Mm-hmm.
Just do that. Now, the offense, as we said, were able to score 4 runs, kind of spread it around a little bit, and that's what it will lead into eventually our DraftKings Sportsbook king of the game. But on offense, who is doing the damn thing tonight, Suzie?
You know what? Connor Joe was 1 for 3, but we got so much out of him. We got a double, we got 2 walks, we got 3 runs. We had Chris Bryant with an RBI on a sacrifice fly. Grichuk, we had a double from him. He was 1 for 4. And then we got a hit each from Diaz and Hampson. But we didn't see much from Jose Iglesias and CJ Crone. And Brendan Rodgers is struggling so much right now. He was 0 for 4.
Yeah, he was coming into the game, batting 133, as you said, 0 for 4, first at-bat, struck out looking against Martin Perez in his second at-bat, where they really had an opportunity to score some runs in bunches, much like on Monday in that first inning. Comes up with the bases loaded, hits into the 6-4-3 double play. Similar thing in the 5th inning with 2 runners aboard on second and third and only 1 out. Strikes out, just couldn't really, get in a groove today. And so we saw him drop down to 5th in the order after hitting closer to the top here at Coors Field. Maybe you see some shifting going around, but, as you mentioned, Suzie, Diaz didn't really do much outside the single. Iglesias didn't do much. Hampson. And so, hey, you know what? No harm, no foul. Let's leave him 5th. Let's not knock his confidence by dropping him down any further. That's okay. You can kind of take a game like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not everyone was on their A game, but you know what? We got the win, and it's the most important part.
No doubt. Yeah, Charlie Blackmon 2 for 5 with the 1 RBI. But as you said there, Connor Joe, I think, was the factor with nobody really breaking out in a big way. You got to step back and look at the greater context and say 3 runs scored. He had 3 of the 4. His job as the leadoff hitter is to get on base, and he absolutely did that today. He walked to start the third inning or to keep a rally going with 1 out. Later was driven in by Charlie Blackmon with a single. In the 5th, he led off the inning with a double. Eventually came around to score on a CJ Cron sacrifice, ground ball to second base, got him in without a base hit. And then in the 7th, he also led off the inning, walked, and eventually ended up scoring on a Chris Bryant sac fly. So Bryant only have the 1 hit, the double, and he ends up driving in a run there with the sac fly. So when you manufacture runs like that, you need people to be on base, and Connor Joe has been doing that. I think he leads the team in on-base percentage. He's just under that 500 mark. So when he comes up to the plate, you know it's going to be a productive at-bat, and you know there's a good chance that he's going to get on base some way, somehow.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. And, yeah, he's just continuing to be the fan favorite right now. He is just all the buzz is about Connor Joe. So it's exciting. I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
He deserves it. No doubt about it. Yeah, when you say there's a buzz about him, that makes me think of hair, and that gets me a little upset because he has the long hair.
Oh, no. I didn't mean that we're going to buzz
I know you
his hair.
I know you didn't, but that's where my head goes. We're word association, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, oh, no buzzing. You know, don't go to Jesus. We know Jesus is the barber there in the Rockies clubhouse. We've seen the tweets there. No haircuts for Connor Joe. He's got to let that thing that he could have to keep that just like Charlie Blackmon does. You know, it's kind
Oh
of
my
part of
gosh,
his look
I wonder
now.
how long it could get. He's gonna have to like get it French braided or something.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Why not? Go for it, man. I mean,
It looks beautiful. Trims only, nothing more than a trim. That's what like women do when they go to the hairdresser. Just a trim, just a little bit, not
just
too
a
much.
little bit. Well, Riley Box here in the chat. We'll give him a shout out. We'll give them a shout out. Excuse me. I'm obviously going to miss Tapia, but if Grichuk keeps doing stuff like this, I'm excited for the future. I'm sorry, but Suzie, you mentioned something about Randall Grichuk having a hit and a double. What's the big deal? What's this that Riley's talking about doing stuff like this?
Oh my gosh,
it's a double.
Randall Grichuk is a thief of our hearts.
Wow.
And of home runs. He stole a Corey Seager 3-run homer, just snagged it. It looked like it was just gone. How hard did he hit that? Almost 105 miles an hour, and just made this incredible catch that is just all over the internet right now. It was absolutely incredible.
Yes, we've got Broncos QBs like tweeting it out. They're seriously pumped. Traveled 406 feet, estimated at 406. And had an expected batting average of 710, which essentially means 71% of that time that falls in for a hit somewhere, probably in some, more shallower, right center fields across the game. It's just falling in for a home run. That is what it is. But Grichuk got on his horse, man, and picked it up. And look, that's the kind of play that we really haven't seen in a few years out of center field. And so that's the play of the game. That has to be the defensive play of the game. Saved runs, killed that rally too for them a little bit. And so Corey Seager, as we said, with him and Simeon, they were 0 for 8. Hey, that very well could have been the one hit, but no, doesn't get that going. That would have been a 3-run home run. That would have tied the game, I believe, at that point, or rather, it would have given them the lead. It would have given them a 4-3 lead at that point because there were 2 runners on base. So again, that's pivotal. That's pivotal right there on the defensive side from Grichuk.
Yeah, you're doing something right when you get the shout out from Russell Wilson on Twitter. He is watching the game with us, and that's amazing.
Yeah, I can't remember there ever being like just anyone associated with the Broncos that has any mild interest in baseball. So this is great.
It is, well, we've been seeing him giving all the love to, the Nuggets. He's been going to Nuggets games. Now we're getting some. And I mean, he obviously has Rockies roots, so I would hope he'd be supportive. But I'm like, yes, we're not just a football town. We have fun baseball.
All right, Suzie, what is the over-under on how many more times. So we won't count opening day. We won't count that first pitch, which we know we were all over on that on DNVR Rockies, calling that immediately when it happened a month ahead of time.
Yes.
How many more times are we going to see Russell Wilson at Coors Field this year in any capacity? He doesn't have to be on the field. He doesn't have to go down for BP. Also, he might not really be able to. He probably shouldn't be taking batting practice. Let's face it. But just being down there talking with the guys, or just hanging out in the press box with Peyton, John Elway, Bubby Brister, Jake Plummer. All the great Denver quarterbacks of all time. I'm going to set the over under at 1.5 because I think we've got to see him at least one more time, right?
I think we definitely have to see it, but I don't think we're going to see him too much because we're going to start getting closer and closer to the start of the NFL season, and he's locked in. He's focused. He's not going to let the Rockies distract him. I think we're going to see him more than once. I'm going to go on the over with this one.
You're going to take the over on 1.5. Okay, yeah. I think a lot of that will have to do with how good the Rockies are, when it becomes a hot ticket, people just want to come out. And right now, I got to think the Rockies tickets are still really hot. We saw what the attendance was like, over 137,000 for the first weekend against the Dodgers. Cubs are coming to town, which only, even if they were, let's say, 2-3 over the first 5 games, we know that those games would have sold really well. But with the Cubs coming to town, people are going to be really antsy. The weather's still somewhat nice this time next week for Philadelphia. I think people are going to say, you know what? It's a Monday night. It's a Tuesday night. I got to get in and see one of these games here because, before too long, it might be hard to get a ticket. So we're going to have to see. So you're going to take the over on that?
I am. Yeah. I think, what if we see him this weekend, I think we'll see him a couple more times. I'm not saying way over, but I think we'll see him a couple more times.
All you need is 2 and you win. Look, I'm good at what I do when I set these lines. That's why 1.5 was the magic number. I'm going to take the under, but I mentioned this before. You'll learn this about me. I like to have my cake and eat it too. So if Russell Wilson shows up one time, I win the bet. If he shows up 2 times or more, I get to see Russell Wilson at the ballpark. This is how I operate my life. It's a spin zone. It's a spin zone all the time.
Patrick Lyons can't lose because he's on both sides.
The show is called Parker Lewis Can't Lose, but I don't know if you know that was a show. Parker Lewis Can't Lose. I think it might have been in the early 90s. We may need to get a graphic here.
It's before I was born.
Patrick Lyons can't lose. And guess, you know what? You know who else can't lose? All of our members to the DNVR.com, especially when they're down on the corner of Colfax, New York, especially because they're getting that member-sized beer, especially because they're getting extra raffle tickets at all of our watch parties for some wonderful giveaways. You get price breaks on the Broncos tailgates, Nuggets party bus. We'll see if we can get some Rockies party bus going on. If you want an annual membership, you get a free shirt from DNVRlocker.com, and that might even be one of our new Rockies shirts. If you want that, knock yourself out. And when you're getting that member-sized beer, it can be just about whatever you want, but right now is a good time to tap into that Breckenridge Brewery's Good Company Hard Seltzer, and more specifically, their Avalanche Ale. That's the member-sized beer you want. It's a classic American amber that blends pale chocolate and caramel malts in a well-rounded, flavorful beer. It's crafted for balance, so it's versatile and a satisfying anytime beer. It's the Garrett Hampson of beers. It's versatile. Can do multiple things. Can do many different things.
Garrett Hampson of beers. I love that.
That's I
Pour
just
me one.
How many more cases of Breckenridge Brewery Avalanche Ale did I just sell with that? I don't. Maybe
oh my
2.
God, we have to
Maybe
tell Garrett 2. That he is the. Yeah.
He's the Avalanche Ale.
Right?
That's it. Yeah. Well, we'll make that happen. Yeah, absolutely. And what you also need to make happen too, don't forget, with NBA playoffs coming right now, talking next level basketball, get ready for all the action by betting the play-in tournament with DraftKings Sportsbook. Something I still can't get used to, this play-in tournament. But you can get in on that action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers, guess what? With just a $5 bet on any team to win, even if it's a favorite that you know is going to get the job done at home, you're going to get $150 in free bets instantly. You clinch no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on NBA hoops with the same game parlays. That means you're going to combine multiple bets from the same game. For a bigger payout, the more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, each day of the play-in, get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the play-in tournament and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code DNVR. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Now, Suzie, I would ask you if I did that as quickly as the Micro Machine guy, but that is yet another reference that you are not going to get. So I digress.
You'll have to explain it to me offline.
Yeah. One of the players not in the lineup that, people don't bang the drum quite as loudly. If you're pushing all the right buttons as a manager, and Bud Black absolutely has, we'll talk about that next. But some people out there, if you're a Rymac fan, you're going, hey, why wasn't he in the lineup? They might be bummed out. There are numerous good reasons. And, sometimes the guy just needs a day off,
Well, he's got 3 good reasons, and they were all balls that hit him yesterday. So he's fine, but he was icing up a little bit. He was a little sore. He's a little bruised. I mean, baseball's hurt. So yeah, he got the day off today, which is good. I'm glad he's getting a little rest before making the trek back home.
3 good reasons. They're 2 colors, black and blue, and he gets 1 day off. I think that makes sense. That's how you break it down. There's also a left-hander on the hill too. So you know what? You're going to want to have a little bit more right-handed heavy lineup. We did see our versatile Avalanche AL-esque third baseman Garrett Hampson in the lineup. Yeah, he'd been taking some grounders over there last year. He came up as a shortstop, did the thing in the middle infield at second base, transitioned to the outfield very successfully. But now we're going to see him a little bit more at third base, a little bit more in the infield now with the Rockies outfield depth that they have in the current state. We still get to see Alan Trejo. He hasn't played a game. I'm just remembering he's on the roster.
He's around.
He's around.
But, we have not seen him on the field once.
We have not. That is a little bit strange. But you know what? You can't really criticize Bud Black's decision-making right now. He's pushing all the right buttons. We actually got to see it a little bit on Monday. And once it happened, you saw how it was going to play out overall. And it started in the 8th inning. Elias Diaz led off the inning with a single. At this point, they were down 3-2. And Sam Hilliard comes out of the dugout to pinch run. And you say, well, wait a minute. If you can get all the way around to Charlie Blackmon, well, you can leave Sam Hilliard in the game. He can go to right field or he can go to center with Grichuk moving to right. That's precisely what happened. Blackmon ended up coming up, and you moved Dom Nunez into his spot because you just lifted the catcher. And so Buddy using that bench saying, hey, we've got a deep bench. We've got a very capable bench, and we have a bench that has a lot of really good defensive players that he can use at his will. And I think we saw that a little bit tonight as well with some of those late moves. Even though Grichuk made the big play in center, he did have to move over a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah. Listen, you can't argue with Bud Black. He's at win number 1003.
I can't keep track. I can't keep track anymore. Yeah. You know who he has more wins than now? And we didn't bring this up. So when Bud Black got his 1,000th win on Sunday, he 66 all time, but he was actually tied for 65th because another gentleman with 1,000 career wins, he's got a metal plate in his head. He managed in Colorado Springs. Charlie Manuel.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he was hit by a pitch when he played some baseball over in Japan, and I think his numbers retired down there in Colorado Springs at Security Service Field. He was, big manager with Cleveland at the time before the Sky Sox were a Rockies affiliate. They were associated with Cleveland. So Buddy does the same thing again tonight. Once we get to the 9th inning, you saw Daza in center. Grichuk moves over to right. Sam Hilliard out and left, gives you that really strong alignment defensively. And that came into play because you did have 2 fly balls to the outfield. So Buddy, he's pushing the right buttons right now. He's feeling the flow. Everyone's trusting it. You want to play, you want to get in, you want to be in that lineup. But when you're winning ball games, however it comes, you're going to take it. You're going to do what your skipper says.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just a fun night overall.
It was. All right. We had a couple Twitter polls that went out over the course of the week. We'll touch on a couple of them. One, what was the most surprising statistic? Was it Antonio Senzatella with no strikeouts in his start? It was actually only the third time that had happened with him. Was it, the bullpen doing what they had done at that point going after Sunday, 11 and 1/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run. I think that was it. We had another one in there too. I can't quite recall what the third one was.
I'm trying to find it now because I want to know. I don't remember what I voted for, so now I'm doing the scroll back and looking.
Yeah, I think it was the bullpen just overall. The other one was the Dodgers had no home runs. They didn't hit a single home run. No, they did. They had the one. That's right. They only had one.
They
Even
only
still,
had one.
Only had the one.
Okay, yeah. So which opening day weekend stat is most surprising? Yeah, the bullpen, Senzatella, no strikeouts, or Dodgers only home run.
Yeah, they only had the one from Austin Barnes there on Saturday against Herman Marquez. So surprising, but now we go forward and we've got even more statistics, to look at and more. I think you put a poll out, didn't you, today about the worst puns, because Rockies, they've got these players with very, puntastic names. Bud Black is one of them. But I don't know, maybe those have kind of worked their way out of the system. There's not too many black puns anymore.
They're not as exciting, yeah.
No. Ty Block, I mean, there's plenty of room to play around with Ty Block.
Lots to work with. Although I did see some really good ones that I wasn't expecting with Grichuk, like about how the Gritch stole home runs. I liked those.
Yes. I had something like that a couple days ago, and I was like, I can't make this work. I forget what it was, but your Grinch. There's only the one though. There was never a sequel. I thought there was a sequel to the Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
The Grinch Who Hit Home Runs. It's going to be a series of books. I think so by Dr.
We're gonna write some children's books when we're not podcasting. We're just gonna in all of our free time that we have during the season. That's what we're gonna do.
Do you think we can get DNVR fan fiction off the ground where we can do something like that with the Grinch who robbed a home run at Globe Life Park, or we could work on that. We'll have to workshop some ideas.
We absolutely. When you said DNVR fan fiction, I'm like, wait, are we writing fan fiction about our coworkers? Because that's also just called starting rumors. That's what I thought you meant.
No. We're gonna have to create some great storylines of what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah, Randy Dandy. I don't know. Okay, that goes. Randall, you can go by Randy. Only one L.
Okay.
Only one L. There's a pro tip. Only one L in Randall.
Mm-hmm. I've almost made that mistake a couple of times, and maybe I have made that mistake a couple of times.
But we also have the puns on Trevor Story, obviously, that we dealt with for a lot of years. Who else do we got on the team right now?
Well, it's like, yeah, so we got rid of the Story puns. Now we have the cool puns. And they were flowing today. There were so many of them. I tweeted some, and I hated it myself for it.
Now his nickname, according to Baseball Reference, is Sasquatch, which I was listening to one of his games during spring training, and Jack Corrigan was like, "Why is that his nickname?" And well, thanks to the Google machine, looked it up, and I think it was that when he was 13, 14, and entered high school, he just he had his growth spurt already. Oh. He probably was a size 13. Shoe already, or the other kids still probably hadn't hit puberty, so yeah, you got the nickname Sasquatch. But I think you came up with one, and if you were listening to if you watched Monday's show live as a podcast, or you consumed it as a podcast on Tuesday, we touched on this, and I like this nickname because it plays for two reasons, because it is actually where he's from, and it does have a little bit to do with his significant other as well.
Yeah, no, I'm calling him Mr. Delaware now. And my joke on Twitter, my bit, I was like, no, if you marry a Miss Delaware, you by default become Mr. Delaware. But he's also one of 57 players, major league players, who are from Delaware. So that's very rare. It's a very small state. So yeah, to me, he is Mr. Delaware.
Yeah. That's a good one. That sticks. I think he would like that one. He's a blue hen.
Yeah.
He's a blue hen. Another guy that I didn't know as much about. Don't keep tabs on Minnesota Twins catchers as much as I used to. I used to have that affinity. But Mitch Garver, a guy who grew up down in Albuquerque, went to the University of New Mexico. He's a sneaky good player, and you kind of see why, Texas targeted him in that trade with Minnesota for Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Susie is going to spell that now. Go ahead. Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
I'm not going to. I was never in the spelling bee. I was in the geography bee. Keep up.
Oh, that's true. Okay, that makes sense with all your traveling. All right, well, we'll pass on that. We'll do state capitals maybe.
My dad still remembers the question that I got wrong to come in second place in the 4th grade geography bee. It will haunt me for the rest of my days.
All right, what's the question? Let's see if I know and I can show off, even though I'm not the same age as you and I'm not 9 years old. But
yeah,
what was the question? You remember?
I didn't know where the Bering Strait is. Do you know where the Bering Strait is?
Oh my gosh. Of course, because it's so straight. Like there's no curves in it at all. No, of course. Yes. It connects Alaska and Russia. And actually I think recently some people, you can actually cross the Bering Strait, but only in the wintertime when it's frozen. I think a couple people did that. It took them like 5 days to do that. And then once they got to the Russian side, they were detained. So there's a little fun fact for that. But
sounds miserable.
If you're good at geography, see if you can remind me by the end of the show and see if I can remember. But there is at least one Rocky right now whose name is a state capital. Think about that while we do this podcast. Let's go. Hey, geography. Let's go. All right, moving on.
This
moving
is
on.
Good.
Moving on. Let's see if you can remember. Hey, if you got it, well, you know what? Don't put it in the chat, please. Just tweet at us, but don't put it in the chat. Don't help her out. Let's see if she can remember it. All right.
It'll come to me. I refuse to lose.
Rockies again win 4-1. They go to 4-1, tied for the best record in franchise history through first 5 games. I think the last time they did that was 2016. Not a year they went to the postseason. The next 2 years they did. So again, just a really solid start overall. They'll get not a much needed off day. A lot of times you say that, hey, much needed off day on Wednesday. Not really. Short flight from Arlington to get into Denver. Not too many guys banged up. Chad Kuhl, we'll kind of wait and see. We did get a question on Twitter about whether or not he'll hit the injured list. Probably a little too soon to know. We'll see what happens here in the next few days, what's going to go on. His spot doesn't come up in the rotation until Monday against the Phillies. So, if they need a spot starter, they'll probably figure that around maybe Saturday night. Sunday, they'll make a move accordingly, go down to Albuquerque. I don't think they want to have a bullpen day as they won't have an off day in some time. Or actually, no, they'll have an off day next Thursday. So, but nevertheless, Chad Kuhl, we'll kind of wait to see. There's no rush to put him on the IL just yet, unless they want to just bring up another arm. They want to bring up another reliever, but they don't need another starter right now until he actually makes that start on Monday against the Philadelphia Phillies. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah, you nailed it. Perfect.
Nailed it. Well, I can speak well and I can smile really well knowing that the Rockies are 4-1. And one of the reasons why my smile and Susie's smile is so bright is from the help that we've gotten from our friends at Green Mountain Dental Group. They've taken amazing care of our DNVR members over the years, especially those who've made the permanent switch. And now your smile can be brighter than ever, not just because the Rockies are doing well, but because you went to Green Mountain Dental Group. Best part right now is when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam with them, you're going to receive a free Sonicare toothbrush from Green Mountain Dental, located just 15 minutes from downtown Denver. Also want to tell you that the issues that you've been having with watching the Nuggets and Avalanche, they are over. Go to avaca.tv/DNVR, 0 hidden fees or contracts. You've probably seen the commercials on AT&T Sportsnet. Well, they've partnered with them too. So you're going to get the Rockies on top of that. You're going to get Rapids, Mammoth, coverage of CSU Rams and Denver Pioneers. Do it at avaca.tv/DNVR. And one more thing, besides the fact that it's only $25 per month plus a receiver, and your price gets locked in for 2 years, so you don't have to worry again about missing out on any of these games or there being big price hikes. I want to tell you that you can also, in addition to going to vaca.tv/DNVR, you can also use code DNVR to reduce your first 3 months to only $10. Or rather, reduce it $10. So now it's only $15. I'm just too excited right now. $15
You're so
per
hyped
month.
right now. I love it.
I'm hyped because frankly, I'm going to get this package now. I already had my Rockies games, but now I'm going to get Nuggets. I'm going to get Avalanche. I'm going to get Rapids. I'm kind of heated about soccer season. I'm in first place in the fantasy MLS league that we have. I'm 6-0-0. I haven't lost. Undefeated. So I got to keep tabs on the Rapids, and I'm doing it with Avaca TV. Avaca.tv/DNVR. Code DNVR. It's going to knock off 10 more bucks for the first 3 months. All right. There was a really cool story that ties in with Colorado. We'll get back to the Rockies in a second. Albuquerque Isotopes. They've got a little news going on tonight.
I'm repping the Topes tonight because it's their home opener.
It is. Yeah, they come back from Oklahoma City, and as much as I would have loved to have been down there, because when we had the lockout, I was looking at minor league schedules to say, all right, there's going to be no baseball major league level in April, so looks like I need to get my butt down to Albuquerque for the April 12th home opener. Right now, it's there's a lot of runs, 19 runs right now in that game between Tacoma and Albuquerque. Stay close to that one. But a really cool story last night, the Rogers twins. We love celebrating the history of Colorado baseball. It's so much better, I think, than people realize. There was an article this spring training. You might have checked out. Shameless plug. Lucas Gilbreth and his growth from last year and going down to Casa Bonita. But in there was a cool story that he got to participate. And Suzie, you might have seen this. You might have even bought a couple raffle tickets to this if I know you, because you like good memorabilia and merchandise and good causes. But Kyle Freeland put together this really cool shadow box. It had like the flag of Colorado in the background, and there were 12 baseballs set up. And they were signed by all 12 players who are natives to Colorado that played in the major leagues last year. Lucas Gilbreth, of course, there. Kyle Freeland orchestrated all for Special Olympics Colorado. It was really beautiful. And the two names that were also there were Taylor and Tyler Rogers. Brothers, more than brothers. They're more than just brothers.
They are identical twins. One's a lefty, one's a righty. They are just like the yin and yang to each other. I cannot believe that their parents named them Taylor and Tyler. That must have been such a confusing household. But anyway, they did something unforgettable last night.
Yeah, it was impressive. And going back to what you said about the yin and yang, as we know how they hook in. One, the lefty there, Taylor, he throws overhand, and the other one, submarine. So, like, you've got an overhand, and then you got thrown underneath. But like you said, in that game last night, San Francisco and San Diego, it kind of popped up a little bit out of nowhere because Taylor and Tyler were supposed to play against each other in Minnesota when Taylor was a member of the Minnesota Twins. He was an all-star last year with Minnesota. So he was another one of those Colorado kids, along with Kevin Gausman and Mark Melanson, who made the all-star team and actually got to play at Coors Field as an all-star. Well, Taylor gets traded right before the season starts, and they pitched in the same game against each other, which is that just in and of itself is really special. It's only the fifth time that identical, well, not identical. I don't know if we know if they're identical, but twins. We'll just keep it at twins ever played in the same game together.
Mm-hmm.
5 times. That's it. That's pretty rare.
That's so rare. Yeah, just insane.
Now, all right. Which one of these things is true, Suzie? We're the last twins that played in a game together. Were they A, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, or B, Jose Canseco and his twin?
I'm gonna go
with C. Both of those things are BS.
I'm actually gonna go with B because I do know that's correct.
Yes. Okay. So truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. Yeah. No. Absolutely. Yeah. Jose Canseco does have a brother named Ozzy, and I think a couple times when Jose has gone out and do some boxing events and stuff like that for a big payday, his brother will show up and people will go, "You guys don't have the same tattoos. It's pretty obvious this isn't Jose. This is Ozzy. He looks a little bit weirder." But yeah, it's the first time it happened since I think 1990 with Jose and Ozzy. And as wild as that is, we said the 5th time it's ever happened, twins. In that game, something even more rare happened.
So yeah, every So yeah, this is just how do I word this? It's
It's
the
a tongue
second
twister.
trio in MLB history to be from the same hometown and get the win, the loss, and the save in the same game. They're all from Littleton.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
nuts.
Yeah. So not a part of that shadow box that Kyle Freeland made was Steve Wright or Steven, excuse me, not Steve Wright. I'm thinking of the knuckleballer for the Red Sox, Steven Wilson.
Yes.
That was because he didn't make his debut until 3 days ago. I think it was April 9th. He made his debut there with San Diego. And he's from Dakota Ridge High School, from Littleton, Colorado. Same as Taylor and Tyler Rogers. Well, in that game, as it ended up turning out, for Tyler, it didn't work out so well because he got stuck with the loss. But Taylor came in, ended up getting the save. Wilson got the win. And so, yeah, we said fifth time ever twins in the same game. And for only the second time ever, even more rare, three guys from the same town. And I thought it would have been something from a long time ago, but it was actually relatively recently, 2009, from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, Edinson Volquez, Felipe Paulino, one time, very brief, member of the Colorado Rockies, and Francisco Cordero. So it's funny because I don't know if it was Sunday's show or Monday's. I think it was Monday's. We were just talking about these like weird, odds of like, okay, Ohtani, first pitch on the mound and first pitch at home plate and building a stadium and then playing in it. Crazy things like that.
That was Sunday when we were just exhausted and insane. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. These days are blending together, but that's a good
Yeah.
thing. And so you come up with these crazy scenarios. I wouldn't have come up with this, like twins. And then also they're all from the same town, Littleton, Colorado. Right now, your team is 4-1 and you've got three big leaguers from your same town, two of them from the same family.
What an honor. What's in the water over there?
Something, I think. Something. And also, too, we'll give a congratulations out there for Tyler, because I think he had to leave the game, or not leave the game, but he left after the game to head back to Indiana, where he and his wife were at, Jennifer, to celebrate the birth of their first child, Jack. So,
oh, congratulations. What a busy day for that family. Hey, both of our twins, our identical twins, are pitching against each other. And oh, by the way, one of them is about to give us a grandchild. A busy day for the Rogers family.
There were two other stories when you talk about family, and you tipped me off to this, so I'll let you tell this because I wasn't really aware of this. Monday's starter for the Rangers, Taylor Hearn, he had a family connection going on that day, and I think I know during the broadcast I didn't get a chance to go in deeper, but they were talking about like his grandfather. He was at the Western Stock Show and like he rode in the rodeo, and he might be in the Rodeo Hall of Fame down in Colorado Springs in Colorado. So he's got those connections, but there's a really cool familial connection, I think, right, with Taylor Hearn and someone in his family.
Yeah, Monday was a big day for siblings, but this was not a rivalry. So yes, Taylor Hearn had the start for the Rangers at the home opener. But even before that, the Hearn family knew that was happening. So his sister is a sports reporter in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is like a couple hours away from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. She's the sports director up there. She was already going to cover the Rangers home opener, and they're from a Dallas suburb. They grew up Rangers fans. So she's already going to cover the home opener. And then they find out that her brother will be the starting pitcher. So it was just a really cool day for that family too. And then there was a pretty viral video going around of her interviewing her brother afterwards. And he said some really sweet stuff. But I live for stories like this. It was really sweet.
Yeah, her final question, I think, was almost like he tossed him in a joking manner, like, "Oh yeah, how much is this due to me?" And he was like kind of serious. He's like, "No, like I take my responsibility as a big brother, and all this stuff." And so yeah, just heartwarming. It's those stories hit a little bit harder when things are good and your team's 4-1 and about to go to first place. So you're right. I love that. And there was another story down there with the Texas and Rockies connection that I had remembered, but I forgot it. Spilly told us about it. I listened to MLB Network Radio like all day long, and the two really good shows on there. I'm drawing the blank on one of them, but Mike Farron, anything that Mike Farron does from formerly of the Diamondbacks, is just amazing. His show's great. And then Loud Outs. Ryan Spilborghs, CJ Nitkowski, one hitter, one pitcher. They've got this amazing chemistry, and yet they've never met each other before. Like they've been broadcasting for like 7 years, and yet you're like, oh, these guys are in lockstep. They've never met each other, really.
They hosted a show together for 3 years and had never met. So like they have like met, but then today was the first time they hosted a show from the same place because the Rockies were in Texas. They had the opportunity to both host the show that they host together actually in the same place.
And do you know that there's still an asterisk next to that because they were not in the same room?
First, I don't know why they couldn't be in the same room, but they were not in the same room.
I'm throwing Spilly under the bus. I think he forgot his Comrex. He forgot an important piece of equipment, so he couldn't be in the same room. But he was like right next door. He was looking through the glass, so they could still see each other. He wasn't pressed up against it like Dinger or anything like that, trying to be let in. It didn't look like that. Spielberg's did not look like Garfield. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know.
We have no way of knowing. He probably did. Like he would do that.
Yeah, he certainly should have. Yeah, so they could still go like one notch where they're actually in the same room. But yeah,
there's still so much more for them to do. But him telling us he was telling us this story, was it the day of the home opener? But he was talking about how like he had never even like seen like what color CJ Nitkowski's eyes are. So like he was just like looking up at him and like looking into his eyes. Like the way he was telling this story was hysterical. And he's like, oh, but we're going to do it from the same place in just a couple of days. I'm like, I will be listening because I also listen to MLB Network Radio all day, every day. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I was pumped for watching that. And if you've got the app, which I do, apps is very important. You can actually go back and you can kind of listen to that and hear they got a little bit of extra chemistry, a little bit of extra juice going on there. So exciting times, man, in the Rockies world. The only thing I think worth pointing out here, we'll probably have a live show. We're hoping at some point on Wednesday. So if you're listening to this as a podcast, keep your eyes peeled on the old Twitter machine for information about that. Next game for the Rockies at home against the Chicago Cubs, 4-game series. I think it's been a little while since they've had a 4-game series against the Cubbies. Should be Kyle Freeland as he started game 1. He makes his second start. Looks like it might be Justin Steele for the Cubs, Herman Marquez on Friday night, and Marcus Stroman on Friday night. We'll see what happens with the guys after that. But the Cubs are not the same Cubs, so we should be able to keep it going. What are the odds that we are sitting here in a week from now and the Rockies still haven't lost? 4-game winning streak right now. That's pretty big.
Oh my gosh. That would be so great. That would be so great. I would love to see that. But the Phillies are also coming to town, so I mean that could go one way or the other. They're hilarious, as I've been calling them.
I think I might have seen somewhere on DraftKings Sportsbook where there was a line to, and maybe, I don't know if you still can now because the Rockies have won 4 in a row, but it was the over-under on longest winning streak, and I think it was at 5.5. And I was like, oh, that was the perfect number. And here we are at 4. So by the end of Friday night, they could already have that over and exceed expectations and beyond a 132 game projection, which I think is reliable. I think we could rely on
it could totally happen, right?
Yeah, that's why we play the games, and they're off to a good start. That's what you got to hope for. I've been saying it for a month now. All they got to do is get into late June, July, be a contender, and Bill Schmidt can work his magic. Even heard him on the KOA broadcast. So that's pretty good considering, I didn't have the cojones to tweet this out, but that's the second time I've already heard him on a broadcast that I know of at least. And so maybe there's other ones. See him at the ballpark all the time. We talked to him on, I think it was Saturday about some business or other. It's Todd Helton. It was the Todd Helton
just
day.
Some business.
Just some business. It might've been Friday. But we're seeing him a lot more than the last guy who, frankly, I think he had an office inside of a broom closet because we just didn't see Jeff Bridich at all. at the ballpark on broadcast. Bill Schmidt, he's showing up, and you got to give him that. And he's also, much like Bud Black, pushed all the right buttons. So
he's
it's
spent
exciting.
money and he's showing up. We like it.
Yeah, we like it. And we hope you like us. Make sure you check us out online, thednvr.com. Join us and become a member for only 50 cents for your first month. If you want an annual membership, you get a free shirt. Follow us on Twitter at DNVR_Rockies. I'm at Patrick D. Lyons.
I'm at the Suzie Hunter. Oh, you usually say it for me. Oh
I know,
gosh.
we're working on some things. We're working on the mechanics there, right? We'll do a take two, and I'm not going to edit it out. We're at DNVR_Rockies. I'm at Patrick D. Lyons.
I'm at the Suzie Hunter.
And you know what they say about momentum? It's only as good as tomorrow's podcast. So we'll talk to you then.